What's up, man?
Where are you?
I'm in the cab on my way home, man.
Oh, okay.
We're live. I know we're live.
All right.
This is my, my life in terms of work.
All right. All right. I thought you'd be home. I'm trying to transfer these tickets to you right now as we speak.
Okay, no problem. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, no, but since I'm here and doing all of this, and
Right.
uh, did you get to see the game?
Yeah, I did, man. It was, of course, in the half they were down 21,
I
but
didn't know
that
that.
third quarter they were like, no, yeah, yeah. And then the third quarter they came back.
Yeah, that's
It,
that's what
it was. That's what you saw.
I saw. I saw they were down by only like eight and stuff like that, and six and like that. I didn't get to see
Right.
from 21 back, and so I saw them, really working, man, playing hard, man. They
Well,
they
listen.
played. They
Before we go further, we gotta salute Delano Steel, Delano, the man of steel, in the
the man of
chat.
steel.
The man
All
of
right,
steel. He's saluting you. He's saluting me.
all right. Salute to you, sir.
But yeah, yeah. Listen, I mean, it was an intense game. They were going back and forth. I know that second. Well, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I guess let's start from the beginning. Did you see the game from the beginning, or you picked it up at a later time?
Not me. I
Huh?
picked it up. I picked it up in the third quarter. Delano, what did you do?
Oh, Delano.
Yeah.
I know that they were working the chat, the WhatsApp chat, so they
Yes.
were following. And I know I was watching it. The first quarter, I'm just gonna give generalities and stuff like that. It was competitive. Is where I think in the second quarter was when they started to let the game slip away, and there was a little bit of I don't know. Randall was upset at Fournier, and I'm not sure the reason why. He was yelling at him right going into the half.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. Where I was at, I couldn't, hear any interviews and know what that was all about.
Okay.
But but somehow when they came out in that third quarter, they were very intense. I don't know if what Randall's did had anything to do with it, or when they went into the half, into the locker room, they may have gotten, in each other's grill and
Yeah.
came out smoking in that third quarter.
Really? I'm gonna have to go back to see. Um, I basically caught the end of the half of the third quarter and the end of the game, um, and it seemed like they just, especially Mitchell, he ran out of gas, and like while he was in there, man, he was defending, he was battling, he couldn't come out to stop those 3 pointers from Vucevic, though. So that is what hurt us mostly in the end. That Vucevic was able to just, I think
Okay.
he hit like three pointers right in that fourth quarter. That kind of like, um, you know, took the steam out of our comeback. Um, that and the
Well,
fact,
this is the thing. Delano said, okay, Delano says, they in terms of, I guess, the issue between Randall and Fournier, he said it was a bad read on offense from Randall, and he blamed it on Fournier.
okay,
So, you know, obviously there was some issue there. And then he
okay,
says, okay, both could
he was killing Robinson.
yeah. Well, Robinson, he put on that weight, but he's a little slower now too because of it.
Right. Well, he was blocking shots all over the place. He was getting rebounds, but he couldn't step out to the 3 point line to guard him. Like he would just,
To defend
come
both of them.
down on the pick and roll. He would come down with the guy with the ball, and
Right.
then the
In
ball would
fact, he
just
was the one.
send it back out to Vucevic, and 3 pointers by yourself. He's a 3-point shooter, man. But if you don't defend the paint, then the guard gets, whether it be Lonzo Ball or whoever had the ball at the point, they would just get easy buckets. So it was like pick your poison type of thing. And that's what I saw, and I thought Mitchell was just dropping back to help out on the ball, but Vucevic is a bona fide
Yeah,
3-point shooter.
he can shoot from three. Yeah, so that's part of the challenge. Okay, so Mitch, he's going to be able to block shots when he's near the basket most of the time.
Right, right. But
When you have to defend another big man that can shoot from the perimeter, you can't sag in the paint because then that's what that big man is going to do. He's going to take advantage of that perimeter game.
every time.
And if he's going under the screen, if he's going under the screen instead of over the screen, then he's never going to defend that jump shot from
Right,
Volkovich.
right. So Delano's saying he just didn't defend Vucevic on the perimeter. It looked like he was stuck helping the dribble penetrate.
Yeah.
And that's what happened every time. And those about three different occasions there, back to back to back. That's exactly what happened. He dropped down to defend the dribbler, but that left Vucevic by himself. My other issue was, if he was so tired, what happened to bringing in the other rookie, man?
Or Sims?
Sims.
You talking about
Sims?
Sims?
What's wrong? He
You know
had him
when
in there in the other game, and he didn't embarrass himself. He played well. He got some rebounds. All you needed was a big guy out there, because at the end, what happened when Mitch sat down, we have 4 guards and Randall, and that means no interior defense.
Well, look, I mean, I see Noel wasn't playing. Taj got kicked out.
Right.
You know, he got text. He got kicked out the game. Now that's another issue. And this is something that bothers me personally, and that is Randall. Randall more so, not necessarily Taj, but Randall. He's too busy complaining to the refs, man, and it's taken
Okay.
away from his focus on the court.
Right. Right.
And as a coach from Tibbs, on Tibbs end, even Tibbs, he got tech too because he started losing his cool. But I'd rather the coach take that on himself than
Okay.
let the players take that on.
Right.
Because you need your players to play at their maximum level. And this cat, every single call that he disagree with, he's here having a debate with every single ref. Yo, focus, play through that, man. Play even harder. You know what I'm saying? That's disconcerting for me. Then of course Taj, he got checked out too because he got upset on a call that the ref made. It got a little out of control. I think you set the wrong tone when you do that stuff, and then your focus isn't where it needs to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. 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 That does take away, and not only and a proof of that is the fact that he missed, I think, 2 out of the 3 free throws that he had at the end, which also took away from our momentum. Okay, we had a 1-point lead at the time. He got fouled. He went to the line and he missed.
Who's
And
this? Who's this?
Randall.
Okay.
So he's like you said. If you're complaining too much you're complaining to the ref, then you're not focusing on what you need to be doing, man. And what he needed to do was make those free throws in that time.
Well, let me ask you this, because I didn't see Barrett playing. What happened with Barrett?
I have no idea. Like I said, I didn't see the first half. I'm looking for, hoping to get some information from somewhere. about why
The
Barrett
box
wasn't
score.
playing today.
Check the box score.
Right now I got let me give me another window here. And it could have been that he did not play.
Man, what happened?
Knicks Bulls.
What happened with your boy, man?
I have no idea.
What's up
Okay.
with your boy?
Oh man.
He's playing the disappearing act again?
Let me see. Look at that, man. We did 32 and 32 in the third and the fourth quarter, 32 in the second quarter. Okay. So it
Yeah,
was
that's
that
a lot of
first quarter,
scoring.
37-19 in the first quarter that we couldn't overcome. What it says about the game itself, give me some more information. We have for the Knicks. Oh man, wait. What do we got here? Knicks Bulls. Bull Mitchell Quigley, Kevin. Nope. R.J. Barrett did not play.
Oh,
Just
there.
zeros across. I don't see any information. Jericho Sims, he's sitting there and he didn't play him. See, that's where I have the problem. You know?
Well, the Delano says what's funny is he's been saying Randall is gonna complain to the refs, get a tech, and then get ejected. Right situation, wrong player. And then in terms of RJ Barrett, he's
Out
out due to illness.
to illness. Oh, okay. Okay. Well,
Probably got the vid. He probably got the vid.
well, we still have enough to win this game.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, it was a 50-50 game. They had a chance. They had a
yes,
chance to
they
win
did.
that game. They tied it up in the fourth.
Yes, they did. They were right there, and that was a game. That was anybody's game in the fourth quarter. Okay,
For sure.
they're great players. Made the plays they needed to do. You know what happened? Let me tell you, man. When Randall came down with the ball, okay, and he got stripped. Okay, he got the ball stolen from him. He just made a good defensive play. Okay, and here comes Alec Caruso. Boom, takes the ball away from him.
Well, Caruso's he's leading the league in steals. So, you got
Right. Nobody's paying
Caruso.
attention to
Yeah.
him.
Well, listen, he's leading the league in steals. I don't think anybody's not paying attention to him. You got to give him credit. Got to give him credit because he's leading the league in steals. And Randall wasn't the only one that he ripped. I mean, he's been ripping guys.
No,
You
what I'm
know,
saying in terms of at the worst possible point of the game. You know what I'm saying? I know that, but the thing is that I think it was a little bit of carelessness on the point on behalf of Randall more than it was a steal on this guy. He just turned his body away from the defender. He was right there next to him. They were right next to each other, and he let him. He let.
listen, you got it in for Randall, bro. It don't matter what he do. You gonna rip that cat.
Okay. So you want me to give the credit to
You gotta give.
Caruso
You
as
gotta
being
give guys.
the glove. He's the glove now.
He's leading the league in steals, bro.
I
That
know,
counts for something.
but
It counts for something. You can't dismiss that.
then
Yes,
in that
yes.
case,
It's a given. Randall can be careless with the ball. I'll give you that. But you cannot take away from the fact that Russo is leading the league in steals.
okay.
He's leading the league. It could be any other play, but no, he is. So you can't dismiss that either.
No, I guess I can't. Okay, but that it gives you. That means that as an offensive player, you're supposed to make sure that you are protecting the ball
True. True.
around him more than anybody else. Okay, so if you're coming down with the ball, you just can't be dribbling away from your body like that. You gotta like
Yeah.
ball.
No, I
And
agree.
I'm just saying, I don't care who it was. I'm not saying that it's Randall because it's Randall, but it just happened to be Randall. You have to, in that situation, man, every possession counts.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, I'm gonna get on Randall because not only did he do that one, but he missed the foul shots. He missed the foul shots, critical foul shots at the end of the game. That'll
If
lead.
Randall blinks the wrong way, you're gonna get on him. It don't matter what he
Listen,
does.
listen. He's supposed to be our best player. And so that happens. He gets the most scrutiny. As far as
True.
I'm concerned, you know, he cannot be careless. He can't play. Like you said, like Delano said, he complains too. Like you said, he complains too much to the ref.
Listen,
I
I'll
don't
be the
give in your
person to
face
say
when you say
that.
that. I just go, well, he does.
That's true.
He doesn't get the calls. So I mean, like I agree with you, but then at the same time, he's not getting the calls that he should be getting. And that's why he's complaining. So I could see him having a legitimate reason for complaining, even if he does complain too much. What did I hear the other day? I think they put it in the chat that one of the refs mentioned that he's a big guy. So therefore, they don't call the same calls on him as they do other people. Because in that net game, they were killing him. And yet Rose just tapped Kevin Durant on the fast break, and they called the foul. On the other end, there was the same or even harder foul when Randall was underneath the basket and three guys were around him, and they stripped the ball from him. You can call a foul in that situation too. But anyway, like I said, I agree with you that he complains too much, but I also believe that he does have a legitimate point and argument and reason to argue. Does that take away from him having in his game? To some degree, he missed those three foul shots at the end of the game that were critical. Okay, he got the ball stripped from him from that Caruso kid. So I think they
A
made
major
the bad
salute.
call to set up that last play to begin with, but they were so far behind. They were like 5 points behind at that point. And a 3-pointer wasn't going to make a difference. I don't know. There was some bad play there at the end of the game.
All right, all right. Well, we got Delano, the man of steel, in the house.
Man of
We're
Steel,
gonna
how
give
you doing,
you
sir?
the floor. Give us your take of this game, Delano. Fire away, brother.
Oh man, first off, salute to you and salute to H2O.
Salute,
I appreciate y'all having me on the panel and everything.
salute,
Um,
brother. Salute.
biggest takeaway. We have a lot of fight, but um, there were critical things that have to get fixed. Rotation wise, there's a big question mark as to why he elected to go extremely small ball to where the only, I guess, front court player you had on there was Randall,
Right.
and it took away from any kind of interior defense. And you're not even given the threat of, okay, well, Obi's in the game, so Obi could at least, what I'm saying, help out with that. Um, so down the stretch, I think that's one of the things that I have to question Tibbs on. Um, as far as the final play that kind of put the nail in the coffin, I guess, with the rip from Caruso, that's court awareness. Randall being the guy that was handling the ball, he should have been aware. But more important than that, maybe the problem was he shouldn't have had the ball where he had the ball. Had IQ had the ball and elected to run a set play, then maybe what I'm saying, Caruso wouldn't have had the opportunity to get the steal. Um, because I can tell you right now, I like IQ, but boy, we got a lot more to learn because he has to learn when he's supposed to shoot and when he's supposed to set plays. When we were down by like 3 points, he elected to take a jumper in the mid-range baseline that rimmed out, and I felt like that was a very rushed shot. You know what I'm saying? It was way too early in the shot clock. He didn't even get anybody involved. It was just basically a dribble handoff to you. You drove baseline and didn't look for anybody else. That's the key possession that you could have had where, you know what I'm saying, maybe we get a point, we switch momentum going our way
Right.
because right before that play, Lonzo Ball missed the open three, you know.
He
So
missed,
it's
he missed two of them, right?
yeah, he missed four of them before he even got one knocked down. So it was crazy how he had so many open looks, you know. But again, it's just a matter of when you have the ball, you have to take advantage of those situations. You know what I mean? The mismatch. Randall was abusing. Um, what's the guy? The power forward that's taking place of Patrick Williams. I can't remember his name for the life of me now. Go figure.
Javante Green.
Huh?
Javante Green.
Yeah, he was taking advantage of that. So, maybe if they had set more plays to where he had that mismatch again, you know, that would have benefited Randall. But again, they were kind of rushing. They were trying to set plays for themselves. I think that's kind of what did him in a little bit. Um, as far as everybody else goes, um, I think Rose should be doing a lot more complaining to these refs than Randall does because there was a couple of drives that he had where he had the opportunity to score or at least get an and one. One of those was one of the baseline jumper that he hit. I think he knotted it up at 92, but he hit it going out of bounds, and clearly there was contact because the way he fell going out of bounds was very awkward. But he threw the ball up looking for some kind of contact. It just so happened the ball went in, so
Yeah.
no complaint was made. But I think that could have been an air one. You know what I'm saying? Another momentum shifter right there. Um, so again, the things that I'm looking at that can eliminate the way the game went. You know what I'm saying? The things that we could have done. Because even with all of those things that I mentioned, and the most critical thing for me is the missed free throws. You know what I'm saying? Randall had the and one opportunity, and then he missed one free throw that, you know what I'm saying, eventually he hit the other one to tie the game up in. No bueno. You know what I'm saying? Not when you're trying to, you know, secure a win off of a already close and controversial loss to Brooklyn.
Okay, okay. So we got Mr. Bill Stradamus Esquire up in the house, just joined us, and I want to, give the floor to him so that he could give us his take. There's a few points that the lineup raised, but I'll speak to that after Bill Stradamus gives us his take. Go ahead, brother. Rock.
Salute. Salute to you, coach. Salute to
Salute.
you, H2O. Salute to you, the man of steel. And as you can see, I got my high blood pressure. I got
Your
I got
pressure,
my machine on my arm
your pressure monitor.
because I was in here. I was going to ask y'all brothers, did y'all hear me? Where y'all were at? Because this game had me from the jump. It had me first. I was into my feelings with regard to how I felt we was being officiated, but a couple of y'all brothers on the chat pointed out to me that we weren't helping ourselves. With the turnovers was terrible, and offensive rebounding was terrible, and I had to I had to realize that you guys were telling the truth. However, we cannot have those first quarter starts like that, man. That first quarter was horrifying, and in my opinion, I felt that it was worse because of the officiating. Like it's as if we were on the road. Like we're not getting the calls, respectful calls
Oh,
at the crib that that I feel that other teams get. However, we didn't help ourselves at the same time. So, it was our fault. But I feel that as you guys were pointing out on the chat and otherwise, that Randall as our best player, he's he's still lacking in certain areas. In certain areas, he can score, he can rebound, and all of that stuff, but he's not the leader yet that we need him to be. He's not yet that leader. Um, I felt that he had a decent game. I felt that Fournier had a good game. I felt that Mitch had a decent game because of the blocks, the amount of blocks. But during the game, I think it was Breen who said that he was some type of exceptional defender, and I disagree with that. Mitch is not an exceptional defender. He's very good in certain areas, but his line tonight, it was just it was basically basic with respect to how he normally plays. It's just that he was exceptional with regard to the blocks, and he had key blocks too. He had that nice block on DeRozan going to the hole. He had a lot of blocks. However, Fournier had an exceptional game in my opinion because he dropped some baskets, but he was in the passing lanes and he had I don't know how many steals. He had a lot of steals, and he was shaking up the offensive attack of the Bulls. So those two, we were clearly, for what it's worth, we were missing the guys who weren't there, aka RJ, and I think we were missing Sims, especially losing Gibson. 3 minutes into the game? So I'll leave it at that. And who am I tossing it up to? Is either Coach or H2O. Okay, Coach, I'm gonna give you the bounce lob, and I'm gonna get out your way so you can do what you do.
I'm gonna do the Dominique windmill dunk. So I think Delano, you have mentioned something to the effect in terms of quickly decision making towards the end of the game or the lack thereof. And what I'm trying to think of is, especially when it comes to those moments, you want your sure hand to be managing the game. Yes, quickly, he's more of a shooter. He's not a pure point. And so I'm thinking, okay, I know Burks at some point was in the game. I know Rose was in the game. Perhaps that could have been the solution. Why weren't they in the game if they weren't? Or why weren't they handling the ball as opposed to quickly? So that's what I'm thinking because I know you raised it, Delano.
No, right, no, right. No, they were actually in the game. It was at that point it was still Burks, Rose, IQ, um, Fournier, and Randall playing. So the reason I brought up IQ was because with the play that I'm speaking of, where he had to dribble handoff, um, the ball went too quickly, right? Now, quickly was basically on the right side of the baseline. No, I'm sorry, left side of the baseline. So what I'm looking at is slow the pace down, look to set up a play because at that point you're rushing the shot. It was really early in the shot clock to where you had enough time to establish a play, even if you want to run a decoy where, I'm saying somebody, and again, this is where I've also said on different platforms and panels, the problem I have with the Knicks at this moment is player movement more than ball movement because it's like they're setting up almost like football drills where before the snap count, I just want to make sure I'm in the right place. And sometimes you really just have to learn how to move without the ball, even while you're trying to set up plays. You know what I'm saying? If you're supposed to be on the left wing, you can still slide around if you need to get the better, get an open look or get a better look. And I think that with the way that everything was going offensively, IQ just settled for trying to take a shot to be the hero. And I think that's where, again, because you've seen the responsibility where they're looking at wanting to shift it towards him, where they're kind of grooming him to be the point guard of the future through summer league. Summer league, you saw him, even
Obi.
McBride. Gosh, I couldn't get his name out to save
Obi.
my life. You saw McBride, what I'm saying, basically playing the two as opposed to quickly playing the two as the more experienced player because I really feel like they're trying to make sure that with IQ they're grooming him to be the point guard of the future So these are the types of situations where your decision making now becomes um questionable if you do the if you make the wrong decision.
See, but
And
that's and I'm glad you gave that breakdown and stuff like that. Unfortunately, that falls on Tibbs, in my opinion. And the reason why I say that is because when the game is on the line, yes, I understand you may want to be grooming him, and it's good for him to get experience in these kind of moments. However, the objective is to win the game. And if you got Rose on the floor and you got Burks on the floor, they're going to be a little bit more sure-handed. And yes, if you want to get him the ball so he can shoot, you get it to him when the time is right in terms of the clock. Because quickly he's a gunner, man. He's gonna shoot. He's gonna shoot first, or he's gonna shoot first before he passes. And when it comes to end of game situations, management becomes paramount. And that's
yeah,
something that unfortunately quickly is still too young to manage a game that way. He's good at scoring, coming off the bench and shooting and running and gunning. But when the game is on the line and you want to close the game and you want to win a game as a coach, you call a timeout, you call a set play, you let the other guys that can handle the ball and have a better sense of time management to run the offense. So, I would say, and again, I don't remember that exact moment because again, I was in a place where there was other things going on that I couldn't focus in on the game. But I was glancing at it. But I'm glad that you broke it down, Delano, because you're seeing it in real time. You're seeing what's going on, and that's what I'm looking at. What having coached in the past, and I'm not saying I ever coached at the professional level, but CYO level where I'm dealing with junior high school kids, and you got to be that much more disciplined if you want to win a game as a coach and as players. You know who your sure hands are, and you make sure that if you don't have the right people on the floor, you call a timeout, you make your substitutions, or if guys don't know where they need to go, you make the right call so they can run the right play. And at the professional level, it should be no different, especially when you have a young guy like IQ who still is learning how to play point guard. I don't see him as a pure point guard because he's more of a shooting guard, but I do understand, like you said, Delano, they're grooming him in that way. I still think it's too early. But with that being said, go ahead, Delano. Go ahead, close it out.
no, I absolutely listen. For me, personal opinion, I absolutely agree. I think he's better suited as the combo guard, the same way that they utilize Lou Williams. And I know he already draws that comparison, but it's like the perfect comparison because Lou Williams is a bona fide scorer
Yes.
and he's a underrated playmaker. But the reason that he's underrated is because the strength of his game is more scoring than in playmaking. The biggest asset to IQ's playmaking is Obi Toppin. Is they have such a dynamic connection to where you really like for me personally, I don't even want to split up that tandem. I know a lot of people have been clamoring for IQ to start at the point guard position, but personal opinion, I just feel like you are better suited having both IQ and Obi in the same unit, whether it's starting or coming off the bench. But that's my personal opinion, of course. I respect anybody else who feels differently. But overall, again, the strength of the game, sometimes you have to look at it as other players as opposed to their individual attributes. IQ is not the strongest ball handler, but he's very improved from last season. He's very elusive now to where you're at least a little bit more comfortable with him going one on one. Um, as far as again with the likes of Derrick Rose, um, I don't know if that last play where again I was talking about where he scored the basket going out of bounds and tied the game up at I think 92. Um, I don't know if that took him out the game. If there's something what I'm saying where maybe he was injured because I really didn't see much more of Derrick Rose even while he was in the game. under those circumstances. So that's something that I you know what I'm saying, I want to see going forward if there's any reports of lingering injury or any soreness, anything like that, because that was very telling. That again puts us in a situation that we're handicapped because one of our better scorers is now hobbled. You know what I mean? If that's the case. Again, Burks put on a great performance. I got to give him his credit. Um, the biggest surprise to me was that defensive sequence from Obi Toppin. And not because I don't believe in Obi. I'm actually an Obi fan to a degree, but for all the complaints last season of Obi Toppin doesn't play defense, his defense is questionable to the point where people were even saying he's a bust. And it's like, wow, to see the complete turnaround to where again he got a steal. I think he got a help on. I think he might have got robbed of that block that Mitchell Robinson got. You know what I mean? I can't remember who the player was, if it was DeRozan or Caruso, but it was basically an attempt, and he got the block. Mitchell Robinson got the block, but Obi was right there, and I swear he tipped the ball from behind um, while the ball was in the air. So I feel like he might have got to it first, but they awarded the block to Mitchell Robinson. But he got another steal, you know what I mean, going on the passing lane. So I really I really like what Obi brought to the table. Um and I think again, like I said, just off the benefit of those things that I've seen defensively, I really would have, rathered him play in the last couple of minutes as opposed to alluding to letting Randall be the only front court player on the court.
Go ahead, H2O.
Yeah. Okay. So when you're referring to Obi playing the last 2 minutes with Randall, uh, is that what you're saying? That in the last quarter there?
I would have rathered that happen.
I continue to question while I was watching is whatever happened to Jericho Sims?
He was
Why?
out.
What? He's not even. I didn't see the whole game, and I'm sorry that
No, he was out. He didn't. He was out. He's the one.
So there was no Jericho. Taj
Right.
thrown out.
And
Noel.
Noel was out as well.
Okay, so we short him.
Yeah.
We short
Yeah,
him. So definitely, I agree with you about having Toppin in there then, because we got exposed, man. We got
yeah,
exposed. We had
Jericho
no
Sims got a
interior defense.
DMP, and it's not, and again, not his fault because I
He
mean,
was sick. He was sick
right,
with a
yeah,
non-COVID related sickness. So
right,
him and RJ was out for those reasons,
Okay.
non-COVID related sickness.
Okay.
And then
So,
Nerlens Noel was out because of a sore knee, which he's missed half the season already, seemingly.
yes.
yeah. Blame Danny Green for that one.
Hmm.
Cause you
Oh,
remember that
when
play,
they
remember
bumped
that play against Philly when he bumped into his knee, and it seemed like he's never been right ever since that game.
So my point is that moving forward, we have to continue to groom Jericho Sims into that backup position because we're going to need him.
I agree.
Need him.
I agree.
And to your point about the guard, I agree about quickly Rose and Toppin playing together. And I don't see where is McBride. This guy is
He's in the G League.
G League, yeah,
He's in the G League. I think
that's
he
what
even played tonight.
put up the other day though.
No, I think he played tonight in the G. I think the G League had a game, and I think he played
Okay, so
tonight.
all right, but I know that he was on the bench 2 games ago. I think he was there. Was he there with the Nets? The Nets game, he was on the bench.
I don't know.
nah, he had
I
because
don't
he
think
had
so.
25 points and like
In the G League, right?
9 assists in the G League game. Yeah, so I don't think he was there for the Brooklyn game. They had just played, and he had a good game. I think that's where, for me, the question mark is, what are we doing with this kid? Because
Exactly.
I
My
mean,
point
we
is
took
that he is, I think, one of the best defenders, guards on the team.
we
That's
took him out the
a
rotation.
little bit that I've seen.
We elected, instead of putting in one of those guys at the point guard position to take over, we go with Alec Burks. Now that puts us short-handed because now Alec Burks, who was supposed to be coming off the bench for Barrett, is now inserted into the starting lineup.
Right.
And the solution is we're putting in Grimes, who's 6'4", to play small forward, as opposed to at least letting Kevin Knox get the opportunity. You know what I mean? Even if he fails, at least give him the opportunity to fail. You know, if he succeeds, give him the opportunity to continue to succeed. But you got to do something with this kid. You can't just have him on the bench
Which one?
clapping it up.
Brian?
Kevin Knox, under the
Oh, Kevin
circumstance
Knox.
of right,
Oh,
because again, Alec Burks is now our starting point guard, so we don't have a backup small forward. Even right now, while RJ Barrett is out, but he's only out because of sickness. He'll come back within the
right.
next couple of games or so, but that still leave us at a detriment because the deficit is now we're a small forward short. If you don't play Kevin Knox, and if you're electing to play Quentin Grimes, which I'm not really opposed to, but at the same time, when I'm looking at, here's a 6'8" small forward and here's a 6'4" guard having to guard him, we're kind of at a disadvantage already. You know what I mean? Despite how good defenses are, if I can shoot over you, and 8 times out of 10 I'm knocking that down, then it really doesn't matter what kind of defense you play on me. So that's again one of those things that what I'm saying, I'm immediately questioning with the situation with Kemba Walker no longer being part of the rotation.
Well,
But
Knox did get 4 minutes, and he dropped a three. So,
Yeah,
but 4 minutes. That's not doing anything for us really. 4 minutes.
that's rookie minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That's something you give a rookie in a blowout or something like that. Here's 4 minutes to go ahead and get some burn, get some shine, get your reps in.
exactly.
yeah, I don't know whether coach has given up on him or something like that because
Oh, he has.
he hasn't played. He hasn't played in about 80 games. Okay, but Kevin Knox, he was supposed to come in here as a good, you know, outside shooter. And but I don't know that he's that much of a defensive player. So even if he's 6'9", if he don't play no defense, what good is he doing for us out there? No defense, no rebounding.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I got to give him his credit because even with what I saw on the floor, and I think at least within the 3 minute mark, he at least stopped his assignment from getting the ball because I think that time it was DeRozan on the floor,
Okay,
and he prevented him from getting the ball to where the ball have to shift. The ball shifted the other direction.
okay.
So I'm looking at things like that, and like I said, again, because I'm not a Kevin Knox fan, you know what I'm saying. I hope for the kid to do something, but at the end of the day, again, you got to give him the opportunity to fail if you're going to call him a failure. You know what I mean? I've never seen anybody not take a test and say, "Oh, you're not going to get past this person, get this point," because you never given me the opportunity to do so. You know, and I think that's really my only right now concern. As far as why Kevin Knox isn't inserted, especially under these set of circumstances where basically everybody is out and we're that short-handed. You know what I mean?
Even with that, what do you guys think about? Maybe he should have had Kemba in there.
Giving
Being,
Kemba.
he, I mean,
Yeah, I think I
we
think
never
with
know.
that.
Maybe Kemba should have been able to get some burn at
Yeah,
least.
yeah. If he gives me 7 minutes and he gives me 15 points, man, I'm good.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, I
know,
think the only problem is if he does that, right? If he elects to do that, and Kemba actually looks good, then you start to question the move completely. Like, okay, well, why did we pull him? If he played well in this game, then that'll beg the question of whether or not he should get another opportunity going forward. And as quickly as you pulled him and said, no, he's a completely out of the rotation, so we're not going to see him play anytime soon. to turn around and then say, okay, yeah, we're giving Kemba minutes. You know what I'm saying? It'll look bad on the coach. So I think, unfortunately, even if you wanted to play the NBA politics, you got to stick with that rule. You know what I'm saying? In that situation. But whether it's to a detriment or not, that'll be up in the air. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that was a move that really and truly you kind of have to question from the very beginning. You know.
It did make sense. It did make sense. Not not to cut you off there, Santana, but I
Good.
that I'd say just give them the 5 to 7 minutes a game that you're gonna give them, and don't make announcements like it's out of the rotation and all of that kind of stuff. You do whatever you're gonna do. You don't have to put it out in the public. You know, he Kemba gives me 15 points, man. He's automatic. He takes 2 or 3, even 9 points. I'm good. Give me 9 points. I know you don't play no defense, but you gave me 9 points, and now the next guy takes over, and then the next guy takes over, and now at least I could have Burks for his legs will be better in the fourth quarter. Now Burks is playing the whole game, and by
Yeah.
the time the fourth quarter come around, he had a couple of miracle games, but in tonight's game he had nothing. And actually, they weren't even going to him or Fournier in the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. They were just like scrambling and trying to do crazy. And quickly he went all the way in for a layup on a steal that missed.
And that's where it comes in, because when I jumped on, I heard I believe it was the Man of Steel and Coach both expressing the fact that at certain times we got to run plays. We don't run plays. We don't run plays. We Tibbs lets them play in this like motion, feel it out type of stuff, and he says it. I let them feel the game and let the game come to them, and this and that. You have to run. You have to have plays, especially when you call them timeouts to stop the bleeding in certain situations. You have to have plays. That's what Doc Rivers was best known as doing. Doc Rivers, you have a team that would have a 10-0 run on them or whatever. Doc would call a timeout, and coming out of that timeout, he would it seemingly 7 out of 10 times he would draw up a play to get them a quick basket and kind of change the momentum of the game. Tibbs does not. They don't run plays at all. At all. They go with the same attack of either Randall's going to bring it up or whoever else or Burks is going to bring it up, and then they go into this ISO type of thing. Now they'll do pick and roll, pick and pop, and all of that, but at certain times in the game, you have to call plays, actual plays, and execute them. And we, for whatever reason, we don't do that.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And the thing about it is, there's a couple of things. Number one, his mantra has been, take what the defense gives you, read the game, and the game will reveal itself offensively. Now, the problem with that is obviously there's no set plays like you just said, Bill. But to make matters worse, the reality is that Tibbs has never been an offensive coach. He's always been a defensive coach.
True.
Now, when you're not an offensive coach, then you have to have assistant coaches that can help you run the offense. For example, when
Woody
was was a bench coach for him, and he could run the offense for him. But I'll give you an example. When Larry Bird was coaching the Indiana Pacers, okay, he had an offensive coach and a defensive coach, which
Yes,
is
he did.
not very common in basketball. That's common in football.
Football, yeah.
In football, but he had Rick Carlisle as his offensive coach and Dick Harder as his defensive
Yep.
coach. Okay, and that way, what Larry Bird's role, even though he's a head coach, is he see the whole game, and then he get a feel of the game, and then he make calls along those lines. But in terms of making specific offensive plays and or defensive calls, he will rely on his assistants to help him with that. You don't see that with Tibbs.
No.
Tibbs, first and foremost, does not have the offensive acumen to call plays like you're calling in terms of as a result of a timeout, draw up a play, and these guys are going to go out there and execute. And then on top of that, who's on that bench that can help them on the offensive side of the ball to make the calls? That's one thing. Now, in terms of this, okay, you got Burt, you got Quickly playing all these minutes, right? Okay, so we had this debate, H2O, a couple of shows ago where we talked about sustainability. That was the operative word. And at the time, the argument was, or the debate was, yes, the second unit gives you that energy, that punch, and maybe you should run with them because they seem more hungry and they seem more likely to not only get a lead but maintain a lead. Unfortunately, when the roles change and now they're thrusted into the forefront as they are now is when you're seeing these little blemishes, whether it's Burke running out of gas, whether it's Quickly not knowing what to do with the ball. And that's what we have to be mindful of in terms of sustainability. We need an entire team effort to be successful, because if we're leaning on one unit versus the other, eventually that unit that's producing at such a high level, they're going to run out of gas. And this is an example of that. Okay, so with that said, I'll pass the rock over. Go ahead, H2O. Rock, brother.
No, I understand what you're saying, and the problem I think right now is that the first unit obviously is producing at a lower rate than the second unit, and that's why that they are getting even more and more minutes. But the games are decided in different points and by just a couple of things that don't happen. We were very even in terms of our scoring. Okay, but they had three guys: Rosen and Levine. 34, 27, 27. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we had a very, very balanced scoring, man. We had 16, 16, 15, 16, and 30 for random. Yo, I'll take that any day of the week. You can't let three guys on their team get off with over 25 points.
Yeah, they had three guys almost with 30.
27,
27, and 27.
Yep. So, what's up, Notorious?
What's going on? What's going on?
The notorious BUG. What up?
Takeaway.
The takeaway is we need a big man that can guard a big man that can shoot.
Yeah, because Vucevic, that dude was like, whoa.
He wasn't any different than what he normally is. He's a 3-point shooter.
So how many games is it going to take for you to know how to deal with him?
We only see him 2 to 4 times a year, man.
It don't matter. It don't matter. How many games does it take to how to check this guy? If you know he a Knick killer.
Either you fall back on the pick and roll, or you go out and you get killed by DeRozan and Levine. So pick your poison.
My poison is he was killing us and he was taking shots with nobody on him.
Nobody on him, because he was the only center today. His legs were shot by the end of the third quarter, man. Don't forget, he put on more weight and he had to play the whole game. I was wondering, that other kid, Jericho Sims, and then I heard
Jericho Sims was out.
Yeah, so no Nolas Noel, no Taj Gibson, no Jericho Sims, What do you want the boy to do, man? Give him a break. Give him a break.
How many years do we have to give him a break?
Thank you. Come on, H2O.
Yo,
Come on.
Yo, the experiment is
Listen,
once
over.
we got him, he's our problem.
Listen. The experiment is over. No one has sat down with this boy to teach him a low post game. The way he has bulk and height, he need to know a low post game. He'd be on the line all the time if he did. Like Shaq say, take him for a ride. He doesn't do it. And you know, we've been having conversations about trading Randall this past week, you know, and people think we crazy, but you know, we were talking about Simmons, and they were talking about, are you crazy? You Simmons can't shoot. Who missed all the free throws at the end of this game?
Oh, well, you don't want Simmons taking free throws.
Hey,
Simmons
who
taking
was
free
taking
throws.
them? Who was taking them this
But the guy
game?
we wanted taking free throws, well, how did he do?
Yo,
How did he do?
Right.
This, I think,
He
two
missed
of
three.
the last.
He missed key free throws this game.
Even the commentators say we don't have a finisher. Even the commentators said we don't have a finisher. Now, I said this in the past. I don't want anybody who can get 40 a night and we lose.
Right.
So who?
All right. I also said, and I take bets, that boy will not be an all-star this year, and he probably won't be an all-star until he gets traded to a team where he's the only shooter.
Well, if we're talking Randall, I don't think he'll be an all-star again. And it's not because he's a bad player. I just think that it's about name recognition. If you
No,
consider,
he had his insanity moment.
no, but I hear you. But here's what I'm saying, right? Look at the names I'm about to bring you, okay? Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Joel Embiid. I guarantee you, they're gonna get voted in to start immediately. No question, without fail, those guys will guarantee to make the starting lineup in anybody and everybody's voting.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Now let's look at the bench, right? And this is name recognition as opposed to skill set and play.
No, but they changed it. Remember, they gave the owners and the players and also the media the power to vote. So
Right.
it's not
No, I get that. Yeah,
not just fan recognition.
no, I get that. But I'm about to put you on to how the media works. The same media that had to eventually bow down to the Knicks because the Knicks were actually playing well, and Randall's game was so without question, you had to give him that. DeMar DeRozan is taking that spot right now, and he's a front court player at small forward, right? We're talking about a guy that's now in MVP conversations, not guaranteed that he'll get it, not even guaranteed that he'll end up being one of the top 3 candidates. But at this moment right now, he's a top 5 candidate. You know what I'm saying? Now,
Definitely an all-star. Definitely.
Okay, so
Jason Tatum is another guy that's.
So put it this way: who would you take, DeRozan or Randall?
You taking DeRozan? The season he's having, I'm taking DeRozan.
So it's well deserved, is what I'm saying.
Right, and that's what I'm saying with respect. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm looking at, again, another name that you'll bring up is Jimmy Butler, who's another front court player having another great season, who's already also been mentioned in the MVP conversation. Right?
Again, who would you take?
So again, Jimmy Butler, absolutely. That's what I'm saying.
So it is warranted. What I'm saying is Randall is not warranted.
No, I think we're saying the same exact thing, and I'm just making the example of why I know for sure that, again, because it's not just gameplay, but I also want to bring up name recognition. Jimmy Butler is a franchise player to a degree with Miami, and you know that from the jump because, again, he's already been a media mainstay, right? He's not a new name to the fixture of All-Star games. He's a multi-time All-Star at this point. Same thing with DeMar DeRozan. He had his time with Toronto where, again, you recognize the name. So even if, this season was his first season succeeding, into an all-star level, talent or whatever. You knew the name from before when he was playing with Toronto with Kyle Lowry. So he's not new to this whole thing. Julius Randle is the newest name to all-star recognition. So I think what we're saying is exactly the same thing. I just think that we're saying it with two different, perspectives. Because again, you're saying it that, as far as he's not going to get in, and I'm agreeing with you. And I'm saying the reason he's not going to get in is not just because of gameplay, but also because of the NBA politics and name recognition. Because if I say a name like Jason Tatum, oh, he's a franchise player immediately. You're not even
But
going to that.
understand what you're saying. These guys have earned it. There's a difference. There's a difference between somebody coming out IQ, all right, and somebody who has earned it, and you can say, yeah, that man is definitely an all-star. You can't say that with Randall. You can't. He had his Lynn Sanity moment last season, and that was it. That's it.
Yeah, I like I said, I think we're saying the exact same thing. I just think that we're attacking it. Well,
he agrees with you. He agrees
no,
with
you're
you.
saying name recognition is what getting these other guys over, and I'm saying no, they earned it. Their lives are different.
No, I absolutely agree with that. But what I'm saying is, even like if I gave you the numbers of like 18,
Randall's got
7
them
and
numbers.
4. If I said 18, 7 and 4, and I said that was Jason Tatum's number, and I said 19, 11 and 5, and that's Julius Randle's number. Right now, clearly I'm giving you Randle has the better numbers, right? But you look at Boston and say, okay, but Tatum is an all-star level player. Immediately, you don't even care about the numbers. Throw the numbers out the window.
Right.
I give you the name of Jason Tatum, and he's the franchise player. Period.
No, you're absolutely right. But then you tell yourself, who would I give the ball to in the last seconds of the game?
Of course, and that's what I'm saying. Sometimes
and that's the bottom line. Like I said, I don't want anybody who can get 40 in the losing cause every game we play. I'm sorry. And for that boy in Houston, he needs to stay in Houston.
Which one, John Wall?
You talking about Wall?
Yeah. Are you crazy?
Well, nobody's going to trade for Wall. I don't even think you're going to get a buyout
from
him.
It's not even the salary. It's
too much money.
Games have he sat out for the last 5 seasons?
Well, the injury helped that part out too. But I mean, absolutely, I think that when it comes down to it, you're not going to say no to that money. I'm not bailing you out. You're not going to give me a discount, and I don't want one. I'm going to get all the money that I can because I'm not getting that kind of contract again. I'm no longer
absolutely
franchise level player material. So I'm going to collect every single dollar out of this $91 million that you owe me. And if that means I got to sit out games, I'll be frustrated, but I'm sitting out these games. Unless you play me, you're going to pay me to sit down. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think any team in their right mind is going to take him on for a number of reasons. One, again, the salary is bloated. 2, you're injury prone. 3, you can't shoot for real. You still have that issue. All these years in, and we're still talking about he can't shoot. Not with, the kind of regularity and efficiency that we're looking for on a team that requires that. So, couple all of those things. Why would I trade for that? Even if I'm giving up a nothing player, or if I'm giving up an asset that is low risk to me. Why would I give you anything if I'm not getting anything of significance or consequence in return?
Because you just want to throw away money. That's how I look at it.
Okay, and with that being said, I've been on this trip for the last, I would say, 1 or 2 weeks. What about Ben Simmons?
No.
Should we go get him? Money. Go ahead. Why not? Why not?
Salute, everybody.
Salute, Money.
What up, G?
All right, Money. Let's hear it.
So I hope everybody's okay. Before we get to the Bulls game, the Ben Simmons thing, again, we need a point guard, okay? I know Ben can pass, can rebound, and is athletic. However, if we get Ben Simmons, if the game is close, teams are going to foul him. He's not going to hit his free throws. And Ben,
Excuse me. You just watched the game. You just watched the game. A man called what? Randall? Come on. Are you kidding me? He's not a finisher.
No,
but when you talk about Simmons and then y'all praise Randall, y'all gotta be kidding me, man.
No. Listen. I'm not saying Randall's perfect. We're not saying that. Randall has flaws. Like tonight, he missed 2 big free throws. Again, Randall needs to hit these free throws and had that bad turnover when we were tied at 111. I'm just saying is that if we get Ben Simmons, yes, he's good on defense and he can pass and rebound. But here's the thing of why I don't want Ben. He can't shoot. And also, like I said, like Randall in the fourth quarter, when it's closing time, I don't trust Ben Simmons in closing time. We saw it in Philly, though. And I'm sorry. Ben, to me, yes, he can defend, pass, and rebound, but your point, if you want to win a championship, your point guard has to stretch the floor to make it, in my opinion. Ben Simmons, to me, is not the answer. That's just me personally. He's not the answer. If we get Ben Simmons, it's going to be hard for me watching his team because it's like, I already know that, all right, we're going to be in a close game. We got a non-shoot on the floor in Ben Simmons and Julius Randle, who's mediocre at the line in the fourth quarter. It's like, I don't want that on the team. Yes, Ben is a good player, but Ben Simmons, to me, is not the answer that we need because we need a point guard. Alec Burks is good, but Alec Burks is not a true point. He's a scorer, though. Alec Burks is a scorer. He's not a true point. To me,
you're absolutely right. But we're loaded with guards. We are loaded with guards. And I'm going to ask you this question. Who's the better player, Randall or Simmons?
Randall
right now. It's Julius Randle. It's clearly Randall. It's Randall. He's a better
let me tell you something. Don't let that boy go to the East because he's going to be a problem for everybody. And I put money on it. He's going to be a problem for everybody.
Ben Simmons.
Ben Simmons is in the East.
Remember, I said
he's saying if he gets traded to a team in the East, whatever team that Ben Simmons goes to, he is going to significantly improve that team.
And he's going to be a problem for everybody else in the East.
Now let me ask you this question, because here's the problem that I have with Ben Simmons, and it's not about necessarily his attribute. It's the mental makeup.
Nice.
That's really the thing that I question when it comes down to not Julius Randle, but Ben Simmons. It's the mental makeup. When you shrink from opportunities in the fourth quarter, but you're the franchise player, how can I rely on you to be a franchise player?
But he wasn't a franchise player.
I understand he wasn't a franchise player, and Bill will tell you. I said it before. The franchise player was Embiid, and I said they'll never win an Eastern Conference final unless he changed his mentality.
And he did.
He changed his mentality, but in the series with Atlanta, he went back to it. And this season, he has gone back to it. He's gotten lazy. Any chance that he feels like he's getting hurt, he's sitting out, and he's not doing justice for the team. And you want to point at Simmons, let me tell you, if you have both of them doing what they're supposed to do, they would have been in the finals. Milwaukee, who? Are you kidding me? They got.
So I think you just said
they don't have the mentality to do it.
You just hit the nail on the head. If they did what they're supposed to do, the problem is Simmons doesn't do what he's supposed to do either. So even as you sitting here, and I understand exactly what you're saying, because Joel Embiid is problematic in regards to his turnovers. You are costly in big games because you try to do a little bit too much instead of relying on your teammates. So you're not making smart basketball plays. But
and to your note, that is the problem with Randall. When I saw the last 2 games before this one, when the guard is asking for the ball and Randall looks at them and starts dribbling down the court, he need to go.
True, he waits too much for the double and triple team.
Right, he waits for the defense to get up on him
with his head down, and he loses the ball. He lost the ball tonight.
Mm-hmm.
He lost
that in mind, right?
With nobody around him. He tripped over his own feet.
And
so with that in mind, why would I trade one problem for another?
Yes,
but let me speak on behalf of Simmons. What we're all not I won't say understanding or whatever, but Simmons is a 25-year-old kid who was thrown under the bus by his head coach and best
Thank you.
player on the team as if he was the reason why they lost the series
Thank
last
you.
year. And what they did, they broke him down. I think he needs a fresh start somewhere else, namely New York. If he came to New York, first of all, Tibbs would love him. Tibbs would probably marry him if he could.
Here's the thing. I get what you're saying, Bill, but here's what you need to understand is too. Ben is also sensitive. Ben Simmons is sensitive. We really listen to Tibbs because Tibbs likes to yell. Ben Simmons is sensitive.
I think he can take it from Tibbs.
I think he would embrace it.
He can't take if you play a series. Listen, us six on this board. We're on a team. And then we play a series against Belange Tears, and we lose, and we place the blame on you, G Money, because you didn't shoot well, but you did everything else well. You played crazy D on Freezy. You played crazy D against whoever else. You played all his defense. You did assists. You did everything else. But we lost, and the coach and Miguel says we lost because of you. And then when they asked Miguel,
I'm not saying that. I never said it was on Ben. There's other reasons why Philly lost their Atlanta turnovers.
But I'm saying we're speaking,
but he was
speaking to his confidence, and we're speaking to his mentality. We're speaking to the mentality of a 25-year-old. Now you're not 25 yet, but the rest of us up here have been 25. And imagine that
25 flights.
Well,
you 25 like
that's the
8
thing.
times.
Not every player can change. Listen, Bill, you made some Bill and Notorious. You made some good points, but here's the thing: it depends on Ben Simmons. We can't. Not every player is going to change on a new team. It's true. Ben is a good player. I'm not saying he's trash. He can defend, he can pass, he can rebound. I'm just saying that, and DSG hit on the money, is the mental aspect. Is he willing to change? Is he willing
the fact that he doesn't want to play with them would suggest that he is willing. He's willing.
Think that, but I haven't seen it. But I haven't seen it. Sorry.
Because he doesn't want to play with them. He doesn't want to play with them no more.
You still got to improve. Doesn't mean anything. You still got to improve your game, and just if they do trade value, you still got to improve your game and be willing to get better. So
the issue is that he wants a lot.
We know he might have right now.
There's a reason for that,
and all he's doing is waiting his time just to prove everybody wrong.
Yep.
So
I believe so.
So he's
and when he gets traded, he's not going to be the greatest shooter. He's not. However, he's a scorer. That guy can get you 25 a night easy.
And still be a top 4 defensive player in the league. Not the East, the league.
If he came over here, if he came over here, we would not expect him to turn around and be a great shooter. And we don't need that. However, his defense suggests that over here, he would change the culture significantly based on his defense alone.
If you want to talk offense, him, Obi, and Sims,
that would be crazy. Man. That would be crazy.
I've seen fear in people's eyes in Sims, and Sims is a rookie.
You know who else is 25 years old though? Donovan Mitchell.
And Donovan Mitchell got better and got better.
You know who's not? You know who's under 25? Trae Young.
And LaMelo Ball too.
In all of those guys' games.
But when they lost, their coaches still supported them. And
because they took the responsibility.
They took the responsibility.
They
Doc
took the
did not do that.
responsibility. You didn't need a coach
If
to
you
do
guys
that.
remember, when Doc first came over there, and they was talking about Simmons offensively, and Doc was on the Simmons bandwagon. He was like, we don't need to change nothing with him. He is a great player. X, Y, Z, blah, 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 blah. But then once they lost in the playoffs and he was asked that one question changed. That one question actually broke Simmons down. Can you win with Simmons as your point? Well, I don't know. That is so contrary to what you said when you said that.
H2O was about to talk.
Huh?
So again,
I'm sorry. H2O, you're muted. Go ahead.
H2O, go ahead, H2O.
I'm not muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. My
Okay,
bad.
I'm only muted because we're talking over each other.
That's true. You're right.
Hand the mic over to the next person.
Okay,
Because
pass
you're
it to
all
you.
making
Lob.
points.
Lob to you.
And it doesn't matter. It's not about being right. We're just trying to make a point, not prove a point.
That's true.
Now, Ben Simmons, according to what Bill Stradamus is saying, would improve us defensively, man. And we do need help defensively at point guard. And he's a very big. What is it? 6'10"?
Something like that. 6'9", 6'10".
6'10" point guard.
Top 3 defender in the league.
Hey, all he needs to do is go downhill every time, and and go to the. But the problem is, and again, if you're going to get broken down because one coach says one bad thing about you, then you kind of soft. I'm sorry, you soft.
You soft with a capital T?
With a capital S.
With a capital T, that's on purpose. That's a reference from Life.
Life, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy.
You soft with capital T then, okay?
H2O, let me ask you, H2O.
Go ahead.
Oh, then what do you say about Randall and his crying all the time?
We had that conversation earlier today. I agree with Santana 100%. Okay, he does complain too much. It takes the focus away from him being in the game and more on going behind the refs. But sometimes he has a legitimate gripe.
Okay, but at the same time, you watch the game and see him pushing everybody and doing dumb things on the court. Because he thinks he's a bully.
Absolutely. But I don't want to switch Randall for Simmons. I'd rather keep them both.
Nah, it'd be a problem.
Randall is he's strong when he goes to the basket, man. We need a big guy, man. What is Simmons going to play guard and forward?
Randall seems to try. Randall seems to try. You don't want to give the ball to the guards.
So you're trading one headache for another. You're trading
Go ahead, Elena.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just saying, if you're doing Simmons for Randall, then you're trading one problem for the other. It's like saying I have an irritable bowel movement, and now I'm trading that in for a migraine. I mean, that's honestly what you're saying when you're saying, okay, I'm gonna take Simmons over Randall in the trade. You know what I'm saying? It's one headache or another. So I would prefer, again, if we're talking about improving the team, or if we're gonna move on from Randall, again, I wouldn't look at somebody else's problem, because you also got to look at it from this angle too. Philly wants to move on, and the problem with Philly's moving on is that they want to fleece a team. Right. Let's not forget that's the same team that sat here and had a trade already in play with Golden State, and what they did was they wanted to up the ante. They agreed to whatever decision they came up with, and then Philly turned around and said, yeah, well, we're going to need about 2 or 3 more draft picks.
Right.
Now you're trying to fleece. Now the problem isn't just a matter of making the trade work for both parties. Now you're trying to fleece a team to where you're taking advantage of the situation, and you're doing it from a place where you don't even have the leverage. Because even though Simmons might be an all-star level player, he's still the problem that you're trying to get rid of. So where does that become an advantage for me when I'm looking at, again, maybe the problem is scoring, or maybe the problem is defense from a specific standpoint. But here we are in the fourth quarter, and look how close this game was, right? So
Man,
if you put Simmons and you put him on the line, he's already a 50% free throw shooter.
and worse,
Right?
worse.
So we're talking about a guy that hits 1 for 2 guaranteed. You know what I mean? He's guaranteed to get 1 or 2. So you hit him and he hits an and 1, and he misses that free throw. You do the same thing where, you know, you go to the foul line and you miss 2 free throws or miss 1 free throw, knock the other one down. It's the same line that you're going to get with Randall. You know what I'm saying? It's just a matter of regularity with Simmons as opposed to with Randall. But that's what I'm saying. Again, that's the guarantee that you get with Simmons.
But I can submit to you that I can submit to that frame of thought that if we had Simmons instead of Randall, we would not have been down by 20 points in the first quarter.
I don't know. We don't know. I don't know that. I don't know that because
we were down because of their guard play. We were down because of DeRozan and
Bukovic.
No, and the dunk man. So if Levine. We were down because of those guys. If Simmons, insert Simmons, take out, and if we had to trade Randall. Now I agree with Delano with regard to the fact that Philly wants they want a boatload for Simmons. So that's where you gotta have pause and make sure that you're giving up the right assets. But
absolutely.
If we could, but I think Bugs or H2O, one of you guys said, I would love to have both of them here. So if we could get Simmons by maybe giving up, say if we had to give up, and I hate to give him up, but say if we had to give up the Eiffel Shower, and maybe a number one or say him and Kemba, and maybe a number one or 2 number ones. I'd be willing to do that because I would love to have Simmons here with Randall, but it seems like Philly is going to want Randall plus. I saw reports that they want Randall and Mitch and Quickly. No.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Can I say one thing about the game? Because we are talking about the game. To me, there's reasons why we lost the game. The bad first quarter, we gave up transition dunks and layups, turnovers. Also, even though I'm happy we battled all the way back to get the lead, the turnovers were too much. We missed too many free throws. And DeMar DeRozan, he lit it up MSG in the fourth quarter, elbow J's, fadeaways. He looked like Kobe Bryant on steroids.
Thank you.
But again, also uncontested shots.
And uncontested shots too. And same thing with speaking of uncontested shots, Vucevic had a whole lot of them at the top of the key.
All of them was uncontested.
All of them. And we're lucky that Lonzo Ball missed open shots. If he was on fire from 3, it would be a beatdown because Lonzo missed a lot of open shots himself, and even Levine has some open shots at the top of the key and drives. It's like, yes, we battled back, but to me, I'm not gonna be that encouraged about the loss because it's like we came out sluggish, the turnovers are too much. And come on, 7 home losses already. It's like we were a dominant home team last year. It's like this year, it's like, why do we wait till we're down big to show passion, to show grit? Like, come on, the crowd was getting hyped. It's like, why can't we play with that energy to start the game? It's like, that's what I don't understand. And like I said, too many transition dunks. Putbacks. Derek Jones was having a monster mash party tonight. Caruso was a pest, getting deflections, steals that led to buckets for the Bulls, and even Green had his moments in this game too. So it's like, even though I'm happy that we got him back, yeah.
Didn't they say that Caruso leads the league in steals?
He does.
He does.
Yeah.
He can get you steals. He was big for the Lakers when they won the title in 2020. He can just steals. He can stretch the floor, and he's a player.
And he took the ball from Randall a few times.
A few times, especially down the stretch. Because who knows what could have happened if Randall doesn't turn the ball over? Who knows? Yeah. And if Randall just makes his free throws, we could have won the game. But even though I'm happy we battled back, we also took some stupid threes in the fourth quarter. It was dropping in the third, but in the fourth, we took some unnecessary threes. You got to use mid range sometimes. Use a mid range.
DeRozan was killing us with mid range.
DeRozan is a mid range monster. That guy, him and Vucevic, they were playing out of their minds.
They were playing like aliens, like someone. They were playing like aliens, mid range. Vucevic, top of the key threes, wing threes. Levine, he had his moments in this game. And we were lucky that Lonzo Ball missed a lot of open threes.
Open threes.
Imagine if he hit them. Imagine if he would have hit them. Who knows? We could have lost decisively. So again, I'm happy we battled back, but I'm not gonna pump. I'm not gonna be ultra happy because it's like this is a game that we had, and it's like if the game stays close against the Bulls, you have 3 closers: Levine, DeRozan, Vucevic. Who's our closer?
Well, that's what we're talking about. We don't have a closer.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact is, we have good shooters. However, in the end of the game, we don't move the ball around. What we do, we come up and we do this ISO 3 shooting, or when it's Rose on the floor, Rose knows how to get to the hole because he's an OG. Now, another thing that got to point out, Obi should have got more burn tonight. Obi only played 19 minutes.
That's not enough.
That's not enough, especially once we lost Taj in the first 3-4 minutes of the first quarter. Obi should have played at least 20-25 minutes.
You're absolutely right. We shouldn't have had 4 guards and Randall in there. We should have had Obi in there and maybe 2 or 3 guards.
Obi was effective in his 19 minutes. He was. He didn't.
Obi's been effective in every game.
He has. Obi had what? He had 8 points, 4 rebounds, and an assist in 19 minutes. He had that energy. And the thing that beat us, one of the biggest keys that beat us was Caruso. His energy was ridiculous. His energy, like he must have, I don't know what he was on. Like they said in the commentary, he said he smoked like he drank 2 Red Bulls or something. He did more than that. He had a lot of steals, and he made it tough for New York. And didn't necessarily have a great scoring game or whatever, but he was effective. He had 6, 6, and 6. But from the eye test, it was way more than that. 6 points, 6 assists, and 6 rebounds. He played 30 minutes, but he played 30 minutes
and play like one.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. With that being said, let me throw it up top. Let me lob it up to the coach. You've been quiet for the last 10 minutes.
I'm just enjoying it, man. I'm gonna pass the rock over to H2O because I know he have more to say. So go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Agua.
No, well, I think the only thing that I wanted to respond to was the fact about Caruso, and he looked like Gary Payton, the gloves. but
Vanilla glove. Vanilla glove.
He was given the white glove treatment.
The boy was invincible, basically. 6 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? But he looked like he was all over the place. And that's the thing. The statistic that's not listed
energy
is those steals and disrupting being in the passing lane and all kind of stuff. Listen, we played a great game.
Steals too.
We played a great game. They just had 3 guys that went off on us. 3, not 1, not 2, 3 guys. And that's the difference. We all scored double. We have 4 guys, 5 guys in double figures, man. They had 3 guys in double figures, but their double figures were bigger than our double figures.
First.
Damn near 30 points from 3 guys. That's 90 points from 3 players.
That's 88.
Nothing.
But Agua, it comes down to focus and who you want to have the ball at the end of the game.
Well, and that also falls on the coach. The coach has to know when to rein the horses in. You know what I mean? You got young guys, everybody want to be a hero, whether it's Randall, whether it's Quickly. You know, I'll just start with those 2. And sometimes you got to know when to call that timeout. You got to know when to call the right play. You know what I mean? That falls on the coach. Players are going to be players. You know what I'm saying? And some players, they can't control themselves because they hype. They want to make it happen. I get that. But that falls on the coach.
Yep.
And that's where I have a problem with Tibbs. And I'm not absolving Randall of his mistakes and his bonehead decisions and or quickly and stuff like that. But I also have to hold Tibbs accountable for lack of offensive creativity, for lack of having a coach on your bench that knows offensive plays or knows those, out of timeout, last minute situational plays. That falls on the coaching, man. You got to own that. You got to take responsibility because those losses, especially at the end of games when they're that close, yeah, you could point to X amount of players that cause you the victory, but you also got to look at the coach. That's where a coach makes or makes his career.
Absolutely.
Billy D outcoached Tibbs, like you said, man. Yeah,
Tibbs has been outcoached since the playoffs of last year.
Yes, he has.
Now, Santana, I want to ask you a question.
Go ahead, brother.
Here's the thing that I'm looking at. Do you think the problem is the fact that he took time to when he lost Mike Woodson, he elected to bring in developmental coaches as opposed to offensive set players. Now, I'll give you an example of what I mean by that, right? Okay, Johnny Bryant, we know is an offensive-minded coach as far as him being the associate head coach. But you look at his assistant coaches, right? His assistant coaches are Darren Ehrman, defensive-minded, Andy Greer, Larry Greer, developmental, Kenny Payne. And then his assistant to head coach is also Daisuke Yoshimoto. Yoshimoto was the head coach in the summer league, who is known as a developmental coach.
Yeah.
So the problem I'm asking is, do you think that the problem is he should have elected to maybe get one, even if you just replace one of those guys with an offensive-minded coach, associate head coach?
Yes.
As opposed to getting more assistants that help to develop individual talent?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, he should.
I agree.
Absolutely. You're spot on. He absolutely needs that. I mean, he should have been doing that. I mean, yes, you have Woody who was there, and Woody obviously had that role. But once Woody took that, that job with Indiana, right? He's in Indiana. That definitely hurt them on the offensive side of the ball, and he hasn't replaced that since. Yes, you got a lot of developmental coaches and stuff like that, and that's good for development purposes. But for in-game decisions and offensive strategies and timeout situational type of plays, now you need a professor like Larry Brown back in the day. I call him the professor. That man was out of timeouts. He didn't care how many minutes, how many seconds there was in a game. He was going to call a timeout and make calls, plays. You know what I'm saying? That's what it comes down to. Doc Rivers, another one. You know what I mean? In those out of time plays. Rick Carlisle, he's another one. But Tibbs, man, he's been having a funk since Atlanta.
Yep.
This
totally outcoached.
Yeah, Nate McMillan outcoached him. Had no adjustments. And that falls on the coach. Now, granted, this year he's had to pick up a couple of players that are not defensive players in Walker and Fournier. And he had to give up, these guys walked away in terms of Bullock and Payton. And it makes a difference. Defense makes a difference. Yeah, we can kill them for their offense or whatever the case may be. But at least he had the defensive type players that played to his strengths. And he didn't have that. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt in that respect. But still, in terms of adjustments, he's still lacking. He's lacking.
But you got to admit, Fourier was playing defense.
Oh, yeah.
Tonight he was.
It's spotty. It hasn't been consistent enough.
Right.
Okay.
And the thing is, the ball handling was horrifying, man. That all of them, Rose, uh, uh, Fournier, Julius Randle, their ball handling was oh
horrible.
gosh, it was horrifying.
Trying to, it's like we're trying to throw football balls that were Tom Brady. Some of these passes were ghastly.
Yo,
Just bad passing, and people keep saying, "Oh, the referee." I don't want to hear about the referees. We had more free throws. The referees were not the problem. It was the turnovers, like you said, and some were just ghastly turn. I know the Bulls did a good job at times getting to the passing lane, but it's also like you said, Bill, just horrible passing, crazy passing. Like, calm down sometimes. Relax.
That's why in the chat I gave it up to you because you kind of settled me down. Because like I said when I came on here, I was in my feelings and I just felt that the officiating wasn't respectful to us at the crib. But then you pointed out, rightfully so, that we weren't helping ourselves with the turnovers and our rebounding. We were bringing that stuff on upon ourselves. So you are 100% right in that regard, and it got me out of my feelings. And I started to look at the game for what it was, and that our ball handling in these. Come on, man. We got to be better than that. You guys been playing since you were 2 years old, man. Come on, we got to do better with that.
And they gave us free throws in a second, so we can't blame the refs. They gave us free throws in the second quarter.
But Bill, you got to look at it the way Shaq said. Shaq said you can't worry about that. You just have to go for it. You busy playing to the rep, it's not going to get you anywhere.
And they were going for it. They were going for it. Randall was going for it. I saw Fournier even. They were taking it to the hole on these guys and making the refs call these calls.
And that's what you have to do.
That's what you got to continue to do. Yeah, you're right. But we didn't start doing that till after we were down by 20 points. So
that's because
once you climb back, it's always hard to pull those games out because once you climb back and then you're going back and forth,
so much energy getting out.
You're expending so much energy that you're tired, and then these guys were bringing in like they brought these undersized guys in. They had Lonzo Ball guarding Randall, and they had that other guy who came off the bench. He's undersized, but he was playing center, and he did well against Randall. You know why? Randall played 1 million minutes, and that guy came in and played his 10 or 15 minutes, and he was, he's stronger, younger, and so it is what it is. The thing is, we have to be concentrated, as who was that? G Money said on the chat, and I think Delano, and I think you even said, Bugs, the focus coming out the gate has to be much better. It just has to be. And if it's not, then we're going to be what we are, which is a 500 team.
Right, and we should be better than 500. I'm not trying to be negative because I'm happy that we bowed back from down 21. But like you said, Notorious and everybody, the focus wasn't there until we were down 21. You got to come up with focus, especially at home, and feed off the crowd. Don't wait till you get blasted and they come off the mat, fight back. Because I said this a million times. You're spending so much energy for you to battle back, and you're going to get fatigued down the stretch of the game, and that's what happened. And here's what killed me in this game. What you see, DeRozan is killing you at the elbow. Double team the guy. Double him. Or Levine. Don't let him play one-on-one because they'll kill you. They will kill you one-on-one. And Vucevic. I know Vucevic might not be the greatest shooter. He's not, but he can shoot the three. He can hit the mid-range. I don't understand why we didn't rotate to him at the perimeter. I didn't understand that. And I don't know, because what's so sad is that on the road, we were consistent with 6-4 on the road, but 5-7 at home. That's unacceptable. And we got the Denver Nuggets, right? Denver's kicked their butt 7 straight times. And the Nuggets are not even playing good basketball from themselves because, one, injuries and certain things. So we have a Nuggets team that's not playing well to their standards, and we're at home. So can we please come up with the right mentality at home? Maybe be physical with Jokic. Maybe watch out for Aaron Gordon, Will Barn for that game, because You can't keep digging ourselves holes and keep coming back, and still gonna pull it out because you're gonna get tired. And like I said, the Nuggets have kicked their ass 7 straight times. Can we please snap the streak? Because most of the wins they destroyed us because of their size. So we gotta come out better.
So let me just say one thing in terms of expectation. So, it's easy for anyone to say, well, we should be better than 500 this year. And I beg to differ because this year we're not sneaking up on people. Okay, last year we were sneaking up on people. People didn't expect us to be as good as we were last season. Now everybody knows, okay, the Knicks are a formidable team that we have to play, to our best abilities so so we can beat them. So I think that at best, they're going to be 500 this year. At best. Unless they make a trade that's going to improve this team.
Right.
Ben Simmons.
But this team, the way it currently is constructed, in my opinion, is 500 at best.
You can make a case. It might be
unless you had Mark Jackson as a coach.
That'd be great. If we had a Malcolm Brogdon, if we had a Malcolm Brogdon on the Knicks right now, or this is wishful thinking, what if my favorite player is Chris Paul, who the Suns are on fire, won 18 in a row, franchise record for them. If we had a Chris Paul right now,
we would definitely be a top East team with Chris.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
Absolutely. You have a leader.
Not only could they score and stretch the floor, they can also defend too.
The maestro.
And they're reliable at the free throw line. And that's what I'm saying. If we had a Malcolm Brogdon or CP3 on this team, and let's say, maybe another guy off the bench, this team will be nasty.
Well, that's why we got the trading deadline to look forward to. There's an opportunity to improve, whether it's a Ben Simmons type or anyone else for that matter. But the opportunity is there. It's up to them to make those deals. And I think they are going to make a deal because, you have a guy like Kemba Walker who is commanding interest outside of New York. And so there's an opportunity to package him. Why not? He's not going to cost a lot of money. His contract is very attractive. And on top of that, he's not going to get run with the Knicks. Somebody else could use him. So that's trade bait right there. This is that opportunity to improve this team, to tighten up the defense and bring in a player that's going to help them get to that next level. Because if they stay the way they are right now, 500 at best. And that means consistently inconsistent. Win one, lose one. Win one, lose one.
We haven't had a winning streak since October. We haven't had a winning streak since October. We're in December. It's like, come on.
Jokingly, I say we're gonna tank, but we'll see what happens.
I don't want to be in the play-in, man. The play-in tournament, man. I don't want to deal with that because who knows? We could play like a Cleveland in the play-in or a Washington in the play-in. Heck, Boston in the play-in. It's like you want to deal with that? No.
You got Bill Stradamus calling a
20-second timeout.
20-second timeout.
Not Nick related. I don't know if you fellas have seen this, but a great film, King Richard. It's on HBO Max or whatever. A great film.
I saw it. Yeah.
Back to regularly. Back to regularly.
Hold on. Since you brought it up, you gotta check out True Story with Kevin Hart.
Okay.
And Wesley Snipes.
And another one is The Harder They Fall.
I saw that one.
You got to see that too. Good, H2O.
Go
I just heard tonight, I was listening to a progressive radio station, the story of Malcolm X on Netflix. It's a different story.
Okay.
So that was a good timeout call. Okay. Back to the Knicks.
Oh, I want to throw this out there. By the way, OKC got thunderstruck. They lost by 73 points.
Yeah, 70 to Memphis, right?
Gee whiz, without John Moran. Whoa, wow. No. The Grizzlies put the Thunder into hibernation. Biggest
70 points. I think
73
that's 73, and that's a record from going.
history.
That hasn't happened since what? Since Wilt and them was playing.
91. That was when the Cavs blew out the Heat. It's like, come on, man.
I don't know, but
Suns
wow.
18 in a row franchise record. That's a fun fact there.
Who's the coach of OKC?
I think his name's Dognot. Let me see. His name's Dognot or something like that. He should be disgusted after this. Mark Dognot. He should be disgusted for this performance. Wow.
And or fired.
To a team without the best player. Think about that.
Wow.
No, because they had no motivation.
That's the coach's problem.
But I don't know if you want to fire somebody who you already knew was going to be coming into a rebuilding organization. I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, that's an embarrassing loss, but I mean, we know that what that team is and what they're not. You know, it's
They're
the
not
same
a
thing
good
with,
team in a row. They're not a good team.
it's the same thing with Houston. Like, are you going to fire Steven Silas for not performing well when you got no star on that team? You're rebuilding from the ground up. You know, you have a couple of star players, but again, they're all rookies. Would you fire that guy? You know what I'm saying? What does that say about your organization and patience? You know what I mean? And in terms of rebuilding, you know, I think you have to. Also, unfortunately, you have to weather some storms, and we should know that very well because we're still weathering ours.
And another fun fact, again, I'm a Knicks fan, but I also kind of rooting for the Suns too. My Suns, 18 straight W's, franchise record. I know they just beat the Pistons, so I'm a Knicks fan, but I am rooting for the Suns because one, I like Chris Paul, I like Devin Booker, I like Aiden, I like Monty, I like the whole team. I want to see them win a championship too, like the Knicks. But hey, Phoenix 18 straight wins, franchise record. And you want to hear this? ESPN flexed off the Clippers and Lakers game to show the Suns Warriors game tomorrow. That'll be juicy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this, man. I hear you talking, but only one team can win the championship, and I'm a Knicks fan.
Right.
Okay, I don't want to hear about somebody else winning or wanting somebody else to win. I don't give a damn if you don't win a game all season. I'm still a Knicks fan, and I'd rather us be in the championship.
No, I would love for us to win. I want the Knicks to win, but I also like other teams. It's not bad to like other teams. So I love the Knicks. I want us to win, but realistically, I don't see it this year. I don't see it this year. Maybe next year, or depending what we do in free agency or whatever. I'm just saying that I want the Knicks to win, but I also like watching the Suns play because they share the ball. They have nice players. They have a good coach in Monty Williams. They have a nice team. So that's why. And I also like Chris Paul because Chris Paul is one of the most smartest point guards in the NBA, and I want to see him get a ring too. So again, I'm rooting for the Knicks, but realistically, I don't see us winning it all this year. So
you're starting to sound like a Laker fan, man.
What?
You're starting to sound like a Laker fan. Yeah, I like the Knicks, man, but that West Coast offense.
Man, I understand him totally because I'm all day Knicks, but me and G Money, we be on the chat. I know he likes Phoenix. I like the Warriors better.
Right,
so,
and I think you like the Bucks too.
Go at it, huh?
I think you also like the Bucks too, Bill.
Over the Nets, yeah.
I'm gonna give you a short story, man. I was in Brooklyn doing jury duty, right? And it was about signing autographs and memorabilia. And Pete Rose was testifying. So Pete Rose was sitting there, and I was the juror that had to go to the secretaries. So he's sitting there, and I'm walking by, and he's looking at me like, you know who I am? You know who I am? And I just walked right by him. Went to the secretary, told him we were going to lunch and everything that we had to do. As I'm walking back, he's still looking at me like, acknowledge me. I'm everything. I'm Pete Rose. So as I passed him, I stopped and turned around. And you know what I told him? Too bad you wasn't a Yankee. And I kept walking. All right?
The notorious you kept Pete Rose out of the Hall of Fame. with your nasty attitude.
You're damn right. If he was a Yankee, we would have put the money up to get him in.
Yeah, you know who I like on the Suns? Mikal Bridges. Could have had him in
Yes.
2018.
Ooh, yeah.
The flashy
Absolutely.
But
Fire Steve Mills.
we have
That's all I can
K2
say.
instead.
I also like
Thank
Cam
you.
Johnson. Cam Johnson can fly. He can shoot the three. Did you remember last year Cam Johnson posterized PJ Tucker in Game 3 of the finals? Like Cam Johnson can fly. He can shoot the three. I also like Cameron Payne on the team because he has a weird lefty jump shot, but he can also penetrate and he can pass through. So again, I am a Knicks fan and I want us to win. But like I said, I don't really see us winning it all this year. So I'm also want the Suns to win because I like how the team is built. I like their ball moves. If you actually watch the Phoenix Suns, this may sound blasphemous. They play like the San Antonio Spurs. Because remember San Antonio with Duncan, Parker, Ginobili, they share the ball, backdoor cuts, lob, passes. That's what the Suns play. So I like watching the Suns play too.
Now, I like Chris Paul as well, but
That's my boy.
I come in. I'm. You can call me Petty White. I don't want him to get a ring because Melo don't have a ring, and out of that crew, I don't want Melo to be the only one without a ring. So I'm being petty.
This is Melo's best chance. This is his best chance because
it ain't gonna happen.
It ain't gonna happen. Lakers aren't winning it. I can tell you that right now.
Suns have a shot. Suns have a shot.
Suns will beat the Lakers in 5.
I say 6. I say Suns in 6 or 7 rounds. I don't see 5 though.
I see the Knicks in 7.
You better stop drinking.
But to me, man, I know people on the Warrior bandwagon. Look, I like watching Golden State too because they're a fun team, they're a good young team. However, we have to understand this. I don't know how Klay Thompson's going to look from injury. I don't know how Damian Lee, Jordan Poole, Kuminga, Wise going to look by playoff time. I don't know how they're going to look by playoff time. So right now, for me, I got the Suns winning the West because here's another thing that helps my argument. If they play Golden State, Aiden will kill the Warriors in the paint, though. The Warriors don't have a real shot blocker like that. And Chris Paul, even
Wiseman is not back. So
Wiseman is good, but I don't know how he's gonna look by playoff time. That's the thing. I don't know how he's gonna look by playoff time. That's what I'm trying to say. And also, here's another thing too. Iggy's a good defender, but this isn't 5 years ago. Iggy died. He's old now. Right. And Draymond's a good defender, but there's going to be games out there in which they're going to double and triple team Steph in the playoffs. Is Draymond going to hit those open shots? I don't trust it, though. And Klay Thompson, I don't know how he's going to look like when he comes back. Yes, he's a shooter, but remember, when Klay was healthy, he was also a good defender. He wasn't just a catch-and-shoot player. He was also a good defender.
Absolutely.
His defense is not going to be the same because, remember, yes, you need your hand. We also need your feet to help you move to try to stop somebody. He doesn't want to put too much pressure on the Achilles and the ACL. What happens if he reactivates the injury? Saying about that. And look, Steph Curry is great. However, he's going to get tired, in my opinion, in fourth quarters because they're going to be physical with him. Am I going to see Damian Lee hit shots in the playoffs? I don't know. Am I going to see Jordan Poole hit shots in the playoffs? I don't know. Am I going to trust Otto Porter to hit shots in the playoffs? I don't know. Am I going to trust Andrew Wiggins to hit shots in the playoffs? He's good. But
I can say yes to Porter.
Yeah.
I don't know how he's going to look by playoff time. I'm sorry. So
Golden State got these Steph Curry looking guys who've been playing well.
Well, but I gotta see. No, they're a good team. They're a good team. They'll win games in the regular season. We can agree on that. I'm just saying, come playoff time, I gotta see this come playoff time. This isn't back then. Back then was different. You had Barbosa, who was experienced. You had Maurice Bates, who was experienced. You had a Bogan, who was experienced. Good defender. David Lee, former Knick, who was experienced. You had experience on that team array. And Klay was healthy. This team is different. They're a good team, but in my opinion, I don't see this team coming out the West. I have to see it to believe it. I don't see it, man.
Well, since y'all like talking about other teams, or we should be talking about the Knicks, why don't you talk about the Dallas Knicks too? While you at it,
the Mavs,
the Dallas Knicks.
He's actually balled out this year. If you actually knows, KP's actually balled out.
To the Mavericks.
Yeah.
The Dallas Knicks.
How's KP doing, money?
Kristaps Porzingis, he's actually had a decent season so far. He's actually had a decent season. I know many people don't like KP for things. I don't hate KP. I don't really hate KP, but he's actually had an all right season, though. Let me see. He's actually had an all right season, though. He's averaging.
Yeah, I'm about to buy out. I'm sorry. I'm about to buy out real quick. If anything, I'll catch y'all next go round.
All right.
All right, man. It's
I have
good.
to stay
Salute.
safe out there. No doubt.
All right.
Salute.
Salute. Go ahead, Money.
So yeah, so I'm saying that KP's had an alright year. He's averaging 20 and 8. The rebounds should be higher than 8 rebounds, but he's actually had an alright year for Dallas this season. I think the Mavericks will make the playoffs. As far as them going far in the playoffs, I don't know. Because here's the thing. Am I gonna trust Porzingis in the playoffs? I don't see it. And also, Luka is a great player. He can pass, he can penetrate, he can rebound. My problem with Luka Doncic, he needs to be more consistent in the fourth quarter. I understand he gets tired, but so does everybody else. Luka needs to be more consistent in the fourth quarter and needs to make his free throws in big games. And here's the thing. I don't know if I can trust Tim Hardaway. I don't know if I can trust Dwight Powell. I don't know. I don't know if I can trust those guys in the playoffs. I don't know, man. So I think the Mavericks, if they can avoid the Suns and maybe the Warriors and maybe the Lakers, they can get out the first round. But other than that, I don't think they'll go further than that. And I like Jason Kidd. He's a good coach in the regular season, but come playoff time, he doesn't make the right adjustments in the playoffs. Jason
You're
Kidd.
right. Yep. He doesn't make
I was
adjustments in
just
the
kidding.
playoffs.
You didn't have to talk about the Dallas Knicks.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Dallas Knicks. And the Dallas Knicks are a good team. I'm just saying that at best, they'll get out the first round if they can avoid the teams like Phoenix, Los Angeles, and Golden State. But if they play one of those teams, I think they go home.
I agree.
Anyway, it's getting late, man. It's midnight.
All right. So what we're gonna do?
All right, fellas. Yeah, let's call it off, man.
We're gonna shut this down.
Shut it down. Take us away.
We like to thank all of you guys who have joined us on this night in which the Knicks lost a game that we all feel that we should have won.
Mm-hmm.
However, we still got more than half of the season to go. We still pulling for our crew, but it is what it is. We're gonna point out what we feel are their negatives, and we're gonna give them props, praises, and flowers for the positives. This one we lost, and on to the next one. The next one will be Saturday evening against the Denver Nuggets, who come to the crib Saturday afternoon. Thanks for correcting me. They come to the crib, and we are expecting to get the dub. And with that being said, everyone on this Knicks Dreams chat, we'd like to end the broadcast by saying, once a Knick, always a Knick.
All right, fellas. Salute and good night.
Salute.
Night.